And hello, everyone. This is Meshell Baker, and welcome to another Monday of the Women of Sales and Influence Facebook Live. And you know, our sponsor, the National Association of Sales Professionals. And this is, again, the Women of Sales and Influence. I am your host, Meshell Baker. I am the Director of Global Sales Development for the National Association of Sales Professionals, international keynote speaker, an expert confidence coach, and a success sales strategist. And today we have with us another fabulous woman who is influential, absolutely amazing. I've had the pleasure to meet her and speak with her, so I'm truly excited to share her wisdom and genius with you. And as you know, all of our guests, because they're women and influencers, they give us examples and model what a woman of that status, how she would introduce herself and tell you what makes her amazing. So Elise, welcome. We'd love for you to tell us what makes you amazing.
Well, hi there, and hi, everybody. I'm so happy to be here. Well, what makes me amazing? It's a long list, but let me start by saying I've been in business, in the public relations business, basically for over 30 years. What I do is I help people like you, viewer, who wants to become a key influencer in your field. And I help you by getting the word out to the media and to your key publics, who you are, what you do, how you do it, what makes you special. That is in digital, all social media, online, as well as in print and in TV. So let me give you an example. One of my clients is the iconic coffee roaster and Grand Cafe here in Austin, and they do a holiday light show every year. So I help them by crafting stories, sending it out to the media, getting TV interviews, getting radio play, getting live stream and social media across from Vimeo, YouTube, Facebook, Insta, all of that. And I get stories out. Now, why would a company want to do that? That's already famous and been in business over 25 years. Why? Because you have to attract new customers and you have to retain your current customers. Also, what you need to do is get back those lost customers. I'm sure you ladies and some men, whoever's watching out here, have had that issue. How do I retain my customers? They hired me for 1 or 2 or 3 projects, then they disappear. You've done an excellent job. Well, that's through a customer management system. I'm not going to get into technique here, but I am saying that ways to get them back have to do with a mindset. And the mindset is, no is just an opportunity to improve yourself.
Okay, so one of the things that I know is our topic for today is the art of listening and waiting. So you, as a PR person, I would love to know, how does that tie into PR, right? So what is the art of listening and waiting that you're imparting upon your clients and helping them to become renowned and sought after? Because that's what you do exceptionally well, right? You've been doing it for a couple of decades. We want to tell on each other, right? So,
right.
But you've been doing it exceptionally well for a couple of decades, helping people to become renowned and sought after, right? That's when you're a thought leader, a subject matter expert, and people are seeking you out. So
Right.
how is taking that art of listening and waiting does that help you become that?
Okay. The first thing about listening, and this is key to sales, the first thing is to hear what your client, or in my case, the client and the media person at the other end of the phone or the other end of Google Hangouts, the media person is saying. Now, this is a lesson in life. We all have ideas in our head, and we're so busy thinking of those ideas, sometimes we have to stop and listen to what the other person across the room is saying. When we listen in their listening mode, then our thoughts dissipate. They go to the background. That's what we want. What I mean about listening is actually hearing what the other person says. When you can tune into their wavelength, you're not selling anymore. You're right there with them. You're
Exactly.
empathizing.
And this is great. So, I would love for you to give an example, right? So I've told you, so you told them what to do, why do it, right? So when you're listening, you're right there, right? And when you're right there, you're in. So now you're about them, right? I'm no longer attempting to sell you. I'm actually partnering with you for the solution that you're seeking. And how would someone do that? I would love if you could share that.
I would. Okay, so I have a particular client that is building a worldwide school. They have two international locations, North America and elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
They don't really have the experience in running this type of operation, but they have the ambition, and the founder has been doing courses, so he himself is already a thought leader and an influencer. So, how to move them, right? That was your question?
Yes.
Right.
Well, how do I go from how do I listen? Yes.
How do I listen? Now, they have their own ideas, and it's another culture that brings in an extra element of surprise. So I hear what their long-term goal is. I hear what their wish is, what their hope is, what their dream is. I don't pay too much attention to what they're doing right now, except in the context of strategy. Okay? Because there are things that they're doing right or wrong. I'm going to point that out, but in a very subtle way. So when I listen, I then deliver to them in writing, here's what you wish for. Here's what you're planning on doing. Is that correct? It's usually 98% of the time correct. You'll always have the person that's in the organization that's a naysayer, or somebody that's just going to try to pop a pin in that balloon.
Mm-hmm.
And that person too, you listen, because we all know we have bad days. You don't take it personally. Listen to them and then give back factually. Now, as a younger person, I used to react emotionally. I'm very passionate about what I do and highly opinionated. Now, I reserve that opinion unless I feel that I'm resonating, 100 to 100.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it doesn't matter what my opinion is. What matters is to calm that person down, to get them to say yes, to get them on your team, to get them on board with whatever program you're selling them.
Yeah, I love that. So my question to you is, then moving to the art of influence. So now we're getting them to listen, right? Now you said that they're listening, and one of the things that I'll just interject, being sales here, is one of the ways that I learned to listen better was I would parrot back. So when there was a break in conversation, like you said at the end, is to get them to move into the program or offering that I had, right? That's why I'm listening, because I want to get them. So I would look for that break and say back to them the last couple of things they said. And the only way I can do that is by intensely paying attention,
Yes.
because I don't know when they're going to take that
Right.
break.
That is actually, Meshell, that is not just sales. That is the art of communication.
Oh, yes.
That is, and that's what we all need to do. So, what would stop that flow of parroting back? What would stop the flow of listening? Stopping the flow of listening would be an over anxious and I'm going to say fearful mind, because if you're living in the now and the future, there's nothing to be afraid of. If you're living in the past, you might be thinking of experiences that haven't worked out the way you wanted. And therefore, you become over anxious to sell, over anxious to get your point across, over anxious to get the job. Nobody's going to ever hire you that way.
Yes.
Thoughts?
Yeah,
Comments?
I agree. And so one of the things that are not some of what we actually teach through the National Association of Sales Professional is how to really look at the outcome focus. So thinking in terms of when you're making that contact, what is the reason? What is the value that is being offered to this potential buyer? So not
Right.
just why I want them to buy, more what is the opportunity to create a win-win? Why would their experience be great with me versus someone else, right? And
Right.
don't and I eliminate the term competition, because competition comes from scarcity, right? If
Right.
I need to compete with you, I need to be better than you. And when I believe in abundance, when you, like you said, when you believe that there's an abundance of opportunity, that means that we don't run out, right? It means that it's limitless, it's endless. And saying that means that I can be in a space of that's when I get to not to eliminate going to the fear side. Fear
Right.
only comes when I'm thinking in scarcity. I have to get this sale. I have to make this sale. I have to. And I need to, and I ought to, and I should are very limiting terms. So going to that space of this is an incredible opportunity. I'm excited to work with this person, and I want them to see how excited I am to help them create the solution or the result or the outcome that they're seeking. And that puts you in a space of, a calmness, right? Which when people recognize our communication, as you said, has a lot to do with our body language and our tonality. So that comes across, and it's a gift to someone to hear someone to speak in their vision, as you said, their vision about what they want to create in a way that's affirming and it's confident.
There's also something that we were discussing here about listening and waiting. Waiting is really important.
Yes.
And waiting for the right opportunity, that is an art in and of itself. Now, in public relations, like in other approaches of external communications, norm is like 7 touches to get the sale. Not necessarily in PR. It could happen on the first or second press release or phone call. And you need to wait because editors, writers, influencers, vendors, suppliers, shareholders, people that I'm contacting are not there just because I phoned them at that moment. So you need to have that pacing and use your own intuition. If you wake up in the morning and say, I feel like calling Mr. Jones today, then do it. Even if on your CRM system it says call him in a week. Just don't harass the dude by calling him every 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
Right? So the waiting means waiting in grace, knowing it'll all work out. And you know what? If you have 10 leads or 100 leads, don't expect 10 out of 10. It's just unrealistic. Do expect more rather than less, but always keep a constant flow.
Absolutely. And quickly, because I'm following on. So if you keep letting me look down, I follow on Facebook on my other form, my phone. And so Diana Jackson, she's an avid follower. I just want to say hello. And Omar Al-Deek is one of my recent CPSP, which is the Certified Professional Salesperson graduate. He's from Saudi Arabia, and he would call in on those calls at 1 a.m. and was just a delight. Hello, Omar, miss you. looking forward to seeing you this week in Sales Mastery, which we're kicking off at the National Association of Sales Professionals. So I just wanted to say hello to those two people and back to you. So I just want to take that
A lot of
moment because
people.
they're just really awesome. And say hi to them. And yes, PR. So let's talk about PR. What is PR and how can someone, what would be a baby step into PR? Because sometimes people hear PR and I'm like I'll say honest, the first time I heard PR, I was just like, well, I don't have the budget for that. I'm not ready for that. Right. So that's where the mind goes. Yeah, I'll do it later. So the first thought for many people, or you think PR, you think movie stars, you think, CEOs, right? So I would love for you, let's go behind the curtain. Let's remove the veil.
Let's remove
so
the
to
veil.
speak,
Okay.
of PR.
Here I am.
Yes, here we go.
Live and in person. Okay. So there is a lot of confusion behind the three words: marketing, public relations, PR, publicity. The world we live in now. Let's just take the media. There's fake news, there's real news, there's artificial intelligence moving video images that aren't even real, right? On Snapchat, there's all of that. It's merging. So what I want to say is that PR essentially helps to create your brand. There are many aspects to it. Let me talk about what I do. So number one, I'll help you create your brand. What does that mean? The brand is both a visual aspect, which is your logo, but it is also a persona, the personality that you or your brand or product or service exudes to the customers. So when you think of Nike, you don't think of you yourself running 10K per day. No, you think about, that's a great shoe and I can run in it. So just do it doesn't mean you've got to run 10K per day. It means, oh, this is a beautiful shoe, it's a stylish shoe, and I can run in it. Okay? So then I craft the wording, which is called messaging, as to what that will be. Let me give you an example. I had a client, rather somber. They produced urns. They were in the urn business, URN.
Yeah. First thing that came to mind was cremation. That's where urns go to me.
Correct. So. Well, that is correct. Okay. So they were in the business of selling urns. Now, they wanted to appeal to the baby boomer market. How are they going to do it? Well, they had a line of so-called designer urns, like sculptures. You wouldn't know it was an urn. So I helped them define who the audience was, and that's the consulting part of my business. So not to confuse, there's branding, there's messaging, there's consulting. And the consulting leads to market research, market identification, who your customer is. So in this case, it was baby boomers. Great. What about the pricing, the positioning? How are we going to reach them? Okay, I'm going to create a tagline for their urns. And we're doing a whole web campaign, email marketing campaigns. And the tagline I came up with was, "You've earned it, URNED." Because these were expensive pieces, $750 and above, appealing to like art collectors. So you had to have a sensibility. So everything around the brand was about art and collections. You're collecting ashes, right, of your loved ones, but in an artistic way. So it was a brilliant tie-in. Okay, so the fourth aspect of my business, we have, let's go again. We have branding, we have messaging, we have consulting, which is market research. The fourth area is media outreach. And that's what a lot of people think is like, yes, that's what PR is. That is correct. But you need to have a name, a value to the name, and somewhat of a presence in order for the media to write about you, to talk about you.
Mm.
And that's why those other steps are very necessary.
Huh.
People just think, hey, I've got the greatest thing since sliced bread. It's a product. Woo, look at this. Get me PR. Sorry, it doesn't work that way. That what might have been true 50 years ago, 25 years ago. It's not true now.
Okay,
Because
so
there
let's
are
let's talk
20,000
about,
things.
yeah, so let's talk about what is true. Like what is what could someone do today?
What someone could do today is think in an integrated fashion. It's not about A to B to C. It's more like a circle. Okay, I'm producing cookies. I'm a baker at home.
Mm-hmm.
I want to distribute these cookies.
Mm-hmm.
How am I going to reach my audience? Well, who is my audience? I'm going to help them figure that out. And then we might have parties like Tupperware parties. We might give away cookies at events. We might have a contest on Facebook or Insta. Whoever takes the most beautiful photos, you start with your family and friends. Whoever takes the most beautiful photos of these cookies will win a batch. And then we'll get influencers, food writers, and others to talk about why our effort in making these cookies is so delicious. Not the cookie itself, who cares? It's a cookie. But the person behind, what's in the flour, what's in the dough, what's your motivator, the why. I excavate the why. And that's my function like a talent scout, excavating the gems of my clients in order to bring that to the media at the right time, in the right dosage, so that the media says, yeah, that's a great story. Okay,
Nice.
I'll write it.
Awesome. Okay, so what and I love all of this. So I love that you gave clearly defined 4 areas of your focus, right? With the fourth one being the one that most people think is PR, and it's actually the last touch point because you got to have the other 3 to really be able to be someone that the media outlets want to spotlight.
And to create an effective campaign.
Right. So where would someone start? Where do you start, right? What is right when would be a good start to even begin to think about PR, right? That's where.
Immediately, because when you create your business, if you don't have your brand in check and your messaging in check, you're going to flounder. So it's right at the beginning. I always tell new business owners, before anything else, you need to do 2 things at the same time: marketing and sales. Okay? So sales is outbound, and marketing is both in and outbound. And that is tied into your PR. Both
Okay.
are tied in.
That's absolutely amazing. So, well, before we're getting close to that time, and I love that you said, at the beginning, you want to start thinking about branding yourself, so that you're clearly communicating who you are, right? And
Right.
that, so I like that because everything I do with sales comes from that place of clarity, right? If you don't know who you are, then you won't be able to confidently communicate with anyone else, right? Like you said, you tend to flounder in your conversation and your communication.
Well, you could communicate. Let's say you're an effective communicator. You could communicate. However, it won't be clear, or it will be fickle. One person will think you're about X, the next person would think you're about Y. The third person is scratching their head. It's like, what does that person do?
Yes, exactly. So so the benefit of the outcome is to go from being um uh uncomfortable, unclear, uncertain in how to communicate to having more clarity around your messaging so that people want to buy.
And
So,
it's based on authenticity. I'm not going to
yes,
work with anybody who's, selling swampland in Florida. Let's put it.
exactly. Well, but I mean, I'm
This
certain,
is about
well, I won't, well,
integrity and authenticity.
right. So, and I'll say that knowing you being the caliber of person you are, you have an intake process. So, um, people would need to contact you, and it would be a decision on whether you move forward. You're not just, and I'm making an
Correct.
assumption just from having talked to you that you're not going to just take anybody. You don't
Yeah.
stay in business this long by just working with anyone. There has to be one of the first things you mentioned was that vision. So if the vision isn't aligned with something that is in your values, then it's not a fit.
Correct.
Okay,
And I've
so
got to be true to myself.
yes,
You know,
absolutely.
I think
Uh,
when we're younger, we try all sorts of things and we don't yet know, or maybe we know and we don't believe in our real vision, right? Or mission, or we're not cognizant of it. And it takes some time to figure that out. But once you do, there's no turning back.
exactly, exactly. It's discovered at different paces for different people.
Correct.
Some people get it when they're young, and those are the people we are enjoying their genius in their 20s because they are have learned to express who it is or what it is they're really good at. And some people go a lifetime with never experiencing that. It doesn't matter where you are, if you're in a space and you have heard this conversation and you're intrigued and believe that you could possibly need some of what Elise has uncovered for you about your branding, your messaging. She does some consulting work, and you're really interested in becoming a thought leader, right? Someone who's sought after in your field and would like to have a conversation. Elise, how can they connect with you? How could they follow up and learn more about what you're discussing?
They can send me an email at Elise,
Oh,
ELISE, at ekpublicrelations.com. That's Elise at ekpublicrelations.com, or call area codes 917-426-3710, or go to my website, https://ekpublicrelations.com.
I'm actually typing this into the chat on this and that's why I'm looking down. I'm not ignoring you. I'm just capturing it now, so it's already in there. So all three ways that Elise has listed her, Elise at ekpublicrelations.com, her cell phone, which is 917-426-3710, and then her website, which is ekpublicrelations.com, are all listed in the chat feed. So if you go and click on any of those, you can connect with her. And again, one of the things that I highly recommend to people is when you're looking for success, you want to seek people who've already done well what your desired outcome is. So that is one of the reasons that I do this show, is so you can get the viewpoint or vantage from someone who has gone through the humps and the hurdles and is in a stride of continuing to excel in this area, so you can take away from this. So Elise, I want to say thank you so much for being here. I'm just going to wrap this up quick, so stay where you are. We'll get to chat afterwards. So anyone who is watching this, as I mentioned in the beginning, I am Meshell Baker. I'm your host, and I am partner with the National Association of Sales Professionals. And one of the reasons I do that is to help people become educated on their selling style, to be able to have conversations where you can confidently communicate what your offering is, because sales is more about your confidence than your competence. And the way we do that is help people with the psychology of selling. So one of the things we offer is a complimentary sales assessment tool. The only way you'll become better at any area of life and in sales is to know where you are. So with the complimentary assessment tool, you will be asked a series of questions that will give you the guidance on how you're emotionally responding in the midst of a selling situation. So we will give you your current selling style and your ideal selling style and 3 tips on how you can immediately impact and create more results and outcomes, which turns into increased income. So I will put that in the chat as well, the link to take your seller style assessment. And for a very limited time, if you're catching this on the recording, it might be already gone, you can acquire a complimentary feedback call with one of our certified sales advisors so you can go in depth on your current and ideal selling style as well. So this has been Meshell Baker with the Women of Sales and Influence Facebook Live with the fabulous and wonderful Elise Krentzel. So if you want to connect with her, check the chat. We have her email, we have her cell phone and her website. She's absolutely incredible. If you're looking to become a next level thought leader and highly sought after in your industry, I would definitely go reach out to Elise. Elise, stay where you are. See you guys next Monday. And just an FYI, I will be coming to you live from London next Monday. So the time will be a little bit later because of the time difference. And I will be at the offices of our #1 contributor to the National Association of Sales Professionals blog, Leigh Ashton. And she's also my mentor. So I'm truly excited to be able to broadcast that to you live from London. See you all next week. Have a wonderful selling week.
Bye.